Good morning, Santa Clarita. Welcome in. Welcome in. You are listening to KHTS, your hometown station, 98.1 FM and 1220 AM. This is SCVi, and I lead School's Eye on the Valley. I am your host, Matt Watson. Good morning, and thank you for joining me this morning. Our show, Eye on the Valley, is brought to you by SCVi and I Lead Schools, a network of charter schools with campuses in Castaic, Agua Dulce, Lancaster. We've got a fully accredited online school, so you can attend that from, well, pretty much wherever you're at, just as long as you reside in Los Angeles or an adjacent county, so any one of those 5 or 6 counties. We've also got a burgeoning homeschool program. I don't know if you've heard of I Lead Exploration. It's an amazing homeschool program that's also available throughout the Southland. So you can check us out at ileadschools.org for any of our classroom-based or virtual schools. Again, we've got online, we've got homeschool, classroom-based schools all around the Southland. So visit us at ileadschools.org. So yeah, we've got our eye on education here in Santa Clarita and across the country. But like our show says, we keep one eye on the Valley as well, bringing you everything that you need to know about what's what here in the Valley. And we do it all while having a little bit of fun. Well, you know, we have more than a little bit of fun. We try to have a lot of fun on the show. You know, I've got that rider in my contract that says I don't have to do anything unless I can laugh while I'm doing it. It gets me in trouble, but, you know, the boss is used to it by now. You know, they just roll their eyes at me and they say, that's Matt. So, yeah, if you're not getting in trouble once in a while, you're not doing it right. The holidays are in full swing here in the Valley. I'm sure that you're all decked out, regardless of what or how you celebrate. Main Street and just about every other street in town is really decked out in their winter best. There's a dust of snow on the surrounding hills, this recent storm. That's always lovely to see. And Engineer Patty's all wrapped up in his ugliest sweater. And baby, it is cold outside. It's like mid-40s out there, so if you're going out today, bring a sweater, whether it's ugly or not, and, you know, whatever you're doing this weekend. You're going to, holidays at the farm, at Gilchrist Farm, or maybe you're going to the Barnyard Lights tour at William S. Hart Park, or, you know, maybe you're coming down to the Santa Clarita Grocery and KHTS Toy Drive right here on Main Street. Whatever you're doing this weekend, stay wrapped up. As a matter of fact, you know what's a great idea? If you're going to be here in town, or gosh, even if you're not going to be here in town, get to downtown Newhall this weekend. You got to eat regardless of what you're doing, right? But you don't want to do all that cooking and the cleanup. So why don't you come down to the heart of Main Street and have a rooftop meal and a glass of Pinot at the rooftop of Reyes Winery, their brand new tasting room and restaurant. In fact, let's talk to the man himself about it in just a moment. Robert Reyes will be joining me. And a little later on, we'll talk to Dr. Jennifer Smolos from College of the Canyons. Jennifer is the Dean of the School of Visual and Performing Arts at COC and Artistic Director of the Santa Clarita Performing Arts Center. So she'll share with us some of the great things the PAC has coming up this spring season. And in hour number 2, we've got our friend Farnaz Kaufman coming by. She's the Director of Global Initiatives for I Lead Schools. She certainly follows the mantra, think globally, act locally. She'll be sharing about SCVi's Dual Language Immersion program. So, yeah, another great show, but it's jam-packed, so let's get right into it. As I said, my first guest is he really is a true Renaissance man, an architect, artist, grape guru, and owner of the hottest new spot in town. Robert Reyes is also the general manager at Reyes Winery. His family planted their 16-acre vineyard here in Santa Clarita in 2004, and they've been producing premium wines right here in the SCV, out on Sierra Highway on the east side of town here, right here in Agua Dulce. There you'll find their tasting room right alongside that beautiful vineyard. But now he brings his award-winning wines along with some terrific food to pair them with to downtown Newhall. Robert, welcome back to Eye on the Valley.
Good morning. Thank you for having me on the show again. Thank you.
It's always our pleasure. You're one of our favorite guests. So before we get to this hot new place that you've got here on Main Street, let's reset your story for those who maybe haven't heard it yet. Can you tell our listeners a little bit about your background and the history of the winery up here on Sierra Highway?
Oh, sure. We planted the vineyard here in Agua Dulce in 2004, and purchased the land in 2002. It was kind of a hobby that I had pursued for some time, but the land turned out to be a little bigger than I thought. And so then I thought, well, I'll plant the whole thing and sell the grapes. And then I thought, well, no, that's not a very profitable operation. So I thought, well, we're going to have to go commercial here. And so that process took about 4.5 years by the time we figured it out. And in 2011, we did our first bottling of our 2009 reds, Merlot, Cabernet, and Syrah. And luckily, we won some medals on those wines. And as they say, the rest is history. So here we are in 2021, opening a restaurant and a rooftop tasting room on Main Street. And yeah, that's been 5 years in the making. I remember having lunch with Carl Goldman next door to the station, and he pointed out this vacant lot across the street where we were.
Uh-huh.
And I thought, what a great place to have a tasting room, especially a rooftop tasting room on Main Street. And boy, 5 years later, here we are.
Yeah, I know we've been talking about it with you for quite a while, and obviously the pandemic delayed everything, but you're absolutely right. I stared at that vacant lot for years wondering, why the heck doesn't somebody put something there? And gosh, I couldn't have dreamed of anything quite like what you've dreamed up here. It's really, I'm looking at it right now. It's right out the window from the station here. It's just beautiful, and like you said, you've got that rooftop there. The unique thing about that is all of the buildings here in Newhall are no more than 2 stories high. So when you're up on that rooftop, you really do get a view of the entire south end of the valley, all the way over to Magic Mountain and the mountains there. And I couldn't think of a better place to have a glass of wine and a great meal.
Certainly, the rooftop views are amazing, and especially these days with the lights on Main Street, being on that rooftop and just looking down on the street is magnificent.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I'm looking forward to my first meal over there, but you've been posting pictures since you guys opened up. It looks absolutely beautiful. Now, this isn't a relocation for you guys, is it? Or you're expanding and still...
No, it is not. It's just it's another space for us to expand into, really. And so even there on Main Street, we are licensed as a winery.
Okay.
So in essence, we are 2 wineries, but under the same umbrella.
Okay, fantastic, and obviously quite different experiences at the 2 locations. In fact, normally you're one of the guests that likes to come in and be in studio, and I enjoy connecting with you. But you've got some important work going on today that you couldn't be pulled away from. Today's a special day at Reyes Winery, isn't it?
Absolutely, we are bottling today. We started bottling yesterday, and sure, we got through about 1,500 cases of wine yesterday, and today we probably have just as many. And we have about 10 people on the bottling line, and so a lot is going on here today for sure. And by the way, I pulled one of the bottles last night and went to dinner with some friends, and I was pleasantly surprised. I know I make the wine and we care for it along the way and so on, but sitting at a table with a couple of friends and having a glass of wine last night was amazing, because I took the Merlot 19, and what an amazing wine that is. I was surprised myself. Like I said, we blend it, we process it, we do what we have to do with it, but once it got in the bottle, my goodness, that was a good wine. Merlot 19.
Yeah, because of the nature of the grapes and the process, it's each vintage is a little bit different. We're not talking about something like Coca-Cola where the recipe is the same year after year, but I've had several different bottles of your Merlot, and it is fantastic. As a matter of fact, you mentioned that you've had some award-winning wines. Talk to us about some of the wines that you grow and vent there on Sierra Highway.
Sure. We grow in the reds. We grow Syrah, Merlot, and Cabernet Sauvignon, and we have won a lot of awards on those wines. We have a lot of gold medals. In fact, we now have 4 double gold medals.
Wow.
And coincidentally, the 3 of those double gold medals have gone to the Syrah, which happens to be my favorite wine.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, we have over 260 medals. And in the last year or so since COVID, we have not entered competitions. But as our wines are aging and coming to their own, I think we will start sending wines to competitions again, because it's always rewarding to send a wine and get some kind of medal, but mostly we have a lot of gold medals, and we're very proud of that, and we're very happy with that. So it's an exciting thing to do, and we're going to resume that this year.
Fantastic. And you mentioned those double golds. That's not just entering 2 different contests and winning gold. There's something special about that double gold. Can you remind us what that is?
That is sure. That is correct. When you have a unanimous decision, you may have 3 judges or 5 judges, odd numbers, and if they all decide that a wine is a gold medal winner, if it's a unanimous decision, they all think it's gold, then it's a double gold. And a couple of our Syrahs have won double gold and had a rating of 97 points. So that's pretty nice. We're very proud of that.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome when all of the experts agree that this is a fantastic wine, and like I said, I've enjoyed plenty of Reyes wine over the last couple of years, and it really is, regardless of what you're drinking, you guys make some quality wine. Now, I'm sure you get this a lot, because when people think California wines, we are world famous and took the world by storm several decades back. But people typically think of California wines up in Napa, Sonoma, maybe as far south as Paso Robles, Santa Barbara, but we don't necessarily think of Santa Clarita or Agua Dulce as wine country. But you explained to me a few months back why your location here in Agua Dulce is perfect for growing and making wine. Can you explain that a little bit?
Yes, the soils here and the weather patterns and so on make it such a unique appellation here. And it's a very small appellation. It's only about 10 square miles here where we produce our wines. And it just happens to have that certain soil, the minerality. And yes, of course, we have little water, which in a way, it's kind of a mixed blessing here. We would like to have as much water as we want, but that's not the case. We're kind of limited in water. We run a couple of wells here at the winery, and so we barely get through the year with that water. But what that does is it creates a thicker skin on the grapes, which brings those extra fine tannins and the fruitiness of the grapes and so on. And so that is some of the nuances that we get in this appellation here. And I think water has a lot to do with it, the cooler nights, et cetera. All of that contributes to that terroir that we get in the winemaking process. So yeah, those are the natural those are the natural things that happen here. And so we're blessed in this appellation. It's the Sierra Pelona Valley appellation.
Yeah, and that's what makes living here in California so wonderful, is that you've got all these different unique wines coming from different locations, and so you've got that very unique, because there's not a whole lot going on up there in Agua Dulce in terms of wines, and so you've got this unique offering for wine connoisseurs and folks that just enjoy a glass or a bottle from time to time. So you've got these amazing wines, and the winery on Sierra Highway provides its own unique experience. If we've got time, I do want to get into that. But let's talk about this new place. Like I said, it's right here at the heart of Main Street, directly across from KHTS Studios here. What can your guests expect from a visit? So if folks take me up on that offer and say, hey, we're going to be running around doing some shopping this weekend, going to need to stop by for dinner or lunch, what can guests expect when they show up at your new location here in Newhall?
We want everybody who visits, and of course, initially we're gonna make some mistakes, and people have been really nice to us in that regard. However, what we want people to do is when they come in, that we want them to walk away happy when they leave. We want them to have an experience. We want them to have some great food and great wine. And speaking of, we have preserved the pricing that we offer at the winery at the restaurant.
Oh, wow.
For the time being, and I don't know how long that's going to be, but ultimately, of course, that will change. It may be 6 months or a year, but we are keeping those prices, the same prices that we offer at the winery, we are offering at the restaurant for people to consume there, and I think that brings a little bit to the experience. I think people enjoy an ultra premium wine at a fair price. At the winery, but to carry that to the restaurant, I think, adds a different dimension to the whole experience, and I think people are enjoying that. So we want everybody to have a great experience every time they visit.
And so folks can obviously stop by for an amazing dinner, and I want to get to the menu in a little bit, but is this something that if, maybe my holiday shopping's done and I'm just looking for an enjoyable couple of hours, can I stop by with some friends and do a full wine tasting there? Are you available for that as well?
Yes. When we open, and of course, initially we're opening the tasting room Friday, I think Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So kind of a limited, and of course the weather hasn't cooperated very much. It's been cold and so on, but we do have heaters up there. And the tasting room itself has a capacity of about 25. But, surprisingly, people want to sit outside no matter how cold, but those heaters do help. And, so it's been great up there, It surprises me that people do want to sit outside no matter how cold. But it's such a great view.
Yeah.
Like I said, the mountains, Main Street, from up there is wonderful. So, yes, it's been great.
And you've got it set up perfectly there so folks can stop by and maybe just, take a quick break, grab a glass of wine, and then continue on with their holiday activities or do a full wine tasting or sit down and enjoy a nice meal paired with that perfect wine. Like I said, I want to hear more about your menu, but let's do that when we get back. Robert Reyes joins us this morning. He's the general manager at Reyes Winery and owner of the brand new Reyes Winery on Main. Like I said, let's talk about that menu when we come back. I'm Matt Watson, and this is SCVi and I Lead Schools Eye on the Valley, and you're listening to your hometown station, KHTS.
The shows must go on. The Main in Santa Clarita is your destination for free online music, theater, art, and entertainment opportunities. Tune into fun variety nights, join a talent show, learn from filmmaking experts, attend a modern play, and more from the comfort of your home. For more information and to view upcoming events, go to facebook.com/The Main New Hall or at themain.org. Enjoy the shows.
Experience Frontier Toyota's all-new hot and exciting Toyota lineup. Serving the Santa Clarita Valley for over 30 years. Frontier Toyota, the Camry, Corolla, and Prius Kings. They're tops in Tacoma and Tundra trucks. Frontier Toyota, the new way of car buying. Shop from home at frontiertoyota.com or visit their showroom at Valencia and Creekside. Discover a whole new car buying experience with your friends at Frontier Toyota.
KHTS strives to give the Santa Clarita Valley all the information they need. And when our computers aren't working the way they should, we call Resurgence your true source for IT. Resurgence provides outstanding customer service while also providing the highest technical ability. They strive to do what's best to improve and protect your business. For more information on Resurgence, call 349-4114 or visit resurgenceit.com.
Your hometown station.
KHTS is the only station I listen to.
98.1 FM and AM 1220.
Welcome back. You're listening to KHTS, your hometown station, 98.1 FM and 1220 AM. This is Matt Watson, and you're listening to SCVi and I Lead Schools Eye on the Valley. This morning, I'm joined by the general manager at Reyes Winery and owner of the brand new Reyes Winery on Main, Robert Reyes. Mr. Reyes, thank you again for joining us today. I know you're busy. You said you're bottling, a few thousand cases of wine over the last couple of days, and keeping busy up there at your winery on Sierra Highway in Agua Dulce. But you've also opened up your brand new restaurant here. Gosh, it's been the hottest place. I've seen so many folks posting on Facebook about enjoying their first meal at Reyes Winery on Main here in downtown Newhall. Before the break, we were talking about your menu. So tell us about the restaurant. I know originally you had kind of thought about shopping the location out to another restaurateur, but you ended up keeping a little bit more hands-on and developing your own restaurant with your own menu. Can you tell us what guests can expect on their plates as they come out of the kitchen?
Well, certainly. Yes. Of course, we have a full menu, and we offer some things that others don't offer on the street.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll tell you a little bit. For instance, in the seafood area, we have scallops, shrimp, salmon, oysters, things like that. And, of course, I don't know the whole menu by heart, but those are some of the things that are on there. In the meats, for instance, they have a hanger steak, and they have a bone-in ribeye steak. They're wonderful. I eat meat every couple of weeks, so I make sure I'm there every couple of weeks to eat. So, yes.
Yeah.
And, of course, for the rooftop area, we offer smaller plates, tapas, different things. Could be shrimp, could be other hors d'oeuvres like that. We even have a Cuban sandwich that we offer, and that's been a popular one. And but on the also back to the main menu, we have lamb chops, which not many other restaurants offer on the street. So I've had those, and they're wonderful. So yes, that's part of the menu there.
Yeah, I'm looking at that.
And so again, back to the rooftop, we have the tapas, the charcuterie plates, etc. So yes, it's a pretty complete menu, and there's a little bit for everybody, including vegetarians or vegans like me.
Oh wow!
I'm a partial vegan.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like. I was going to say. You mentioned you try to have meat once in a while, so you're a vegan who falls off the wagon once in a while, huh?
Yeah. Well, no, I have all that programmed. Every couple of weeks, I do eat meat for a day or so, and then I go back to vegan. It's it's a thing I do.
I'm getting a text here from producer Sarah, and it just says, "Gasp! Sea scallops!" And I'm looking at a page of your menu. You kind of glossed over it a little bit. Yes, you've got lamb chops, and it's not a very common dish that you see here on Main Street, but absolutely delicious. I want my listeners to hear this. New Zealand lamb chops tossed with butternut squash puree, served with collard greens, sautéed onions, and a red wine demi-glace. I mean, could you do much better than that? Well, I mean, if you like the bone-in ribeye, I suppose you could. And then here's something that I'm going to have to get into a couple of times. You've got seafood paella, just first-class meals here, and then I'm sure your staff is becoming quickly experts with pairing your wines with each of the different.
Absolutely, yes. The servers will make recommendations depending on people's palates and what they enjoy, and then offer something along the lines of what people may. If you think you like, for instance, a Syrah with your lamb chops, then we have a couple of Syrahs that they can offer, or any other red wine as well. We do not have all of the wines that we have at the winery there yet, but we will be increasing the offering on the wines there as well. So we probably have 10 or 12 different wines there now, but overall in our menu at the winery, because we have multiple vintages that we've accumulated over time, we have quite a bit here at the winery, but there we will be increasing those those options as well.
And I can attest to the fact to whichever Reyes wine that you choose, you're really going to enjoy that glass of wine. They make amazing wine. Now,
Thank you.
You mentioned that you're available for tasting only a few days a week, but what are your hours of the restaurant?
4 to 10 p.m. Saturdays, or let's say Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. It's 4 to 10. The other days is 4 to 9.
Okay, so open for dinner only. And then is it walk-in? Do we need reservations, or is that just for larger groups?
Preferably reservations. We've had some problems with our reservation system that is attached or tied to our POS system.
Okay.
And that has not worked really very well. But there is a link on our website where you can make reservations, and we're trying to figure out with the POS providers how to debug that problem. But you can either call in, and the number there is easy to remember, 661-621-7777. You can call in and make a reservation on the phone, or you can make a reservation online by clicking on that link, which we may be changing pretty soon because it hasn't been really all that dependable, but it works. So yes, walk-ins will be welcome as well, and that is on a first-come, first-served basis. Better to make a reservation, however.
Yeah, especially if you're talking about a Friday, Saturday night. So one more time, it's 661-621-7777. And what was the website?
It's ReyesWineryOnMain.com.
Reyes Winery on Main. Well, that's easy to remember as well. ReyesWineryOnMain.com, 661-621-7777. Now, we've been having a spell of difficult weather. You mentioned we had a little bit of rain. Well, we've had a few days of rain over the last week or so, and it's been a little bit chilly. You mentioned you've got the heaters. Folks are still with those heaters able to enjoy meals outside on the rooftop there. What about when it rains? Do you have to close down that rooftop?
Well, actually, the open area of the rooftop, of course, no one wants to go out in the rain. However, the tasting room itself has a capacity for 25 guests. So even on a slow night, you can have 25 people up there in the tasting room and not have to step out into the rain because the rear elevator is actually indoors, where the front elevator opens out into the terrace open area. But again, if it's raining, use the back elevator and nobody has to get wet. So yes, it's convenient that way, and I'm glad we have that other elevator back there.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm looking. You've got that tasting room, and while it's indoors, you've got all windows, so you still get to take advantage of that gorgeous view, even if it is a little wet outside.
That's right. It's beautiful up there.
Fantastic.
That rooftop is amazing. Yes.
Fantastic. And I know that at least before the pandemic, your winery on Sierra Highway was really well known, not only for the fantastic wines folks could get there, but you put together kind of a full wraparound experience, kind of a half-day experience for your guests. Is that something that you guys are back to doing now, or is that something that we still got to wait a little bit longer to enjoy the hikes and things around the mountains?
Yes, I think we're going to start with the hikes in February, first week of February. I think we'll be doing a hike and get back into that until probably mid-year. If it gets too hot or whatever, then we discontinue it for a couple months. But yeah, we haven't been doing it in the last few months, and but we will be getting back to that. It's a great experience. I still do the hikes myself. My wife and I do the hikes, but as with other friends or by ourselves, but it's always fun to do those hikes, and people thoroughly enjoy them. And it is nice to go on a hike for about 2 hours and then come back and have brunch and have a little wine and talk and do the tour. It's a fantastic experience, and we'll be getting back to that first week of February.
Absolutely beautiful. Take that nice 2-hour hike around those foothills in Agua Dulce. Just absolutely gorgeous scenery overlooking the Reyes Winery. And then, like you said, once you've completely worked up a good appetite, you come back to the gorgeous winery there and enjoy brunch and and a wine tasting and all kinds of activities. It's a great way to spend a morning and early afternoon. Reyes Winery on Main, it really is all the rage. I've seen, gosh, like I said, at least a dozen or so posts on social media raving about how great it is, including our congressman, Mike Garcia, who absolutely fell in love with your place on his first visit.
Oh.
So, yeah, he stopped by just about a week ago, didn't he?
Yes.
Yeah, so definitely give them a call. Again, it is 661-621-7777 or ReyesWineryOnMain.com. It's definitely going to be a place you're going to want to stop by this weekend, and then you're going to find that you're going to want to come back. It is just an absolutely great spot. So stop by for a glass of wine or a full tasting. Enjoy dinner overlooking the entire valley at that rooftop dining room. And don't forget about that beautiful Reyes Winery wine room and vineyard on Sierra Highway. Mr. Reyes, thank you so much for calling in today. I know how busy you are, but it's always great to talk to you. You have a great weekend and a wonderful holiday.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me once again on your program. I love it. And want to, again, invite people to our new Reyes Winery on Main rooftop.
Make sure you make reservations. It's going to be tough to get in for a while. We will talk to you soon, Mr. Reyes. You be well.
Have a great day.
I'm Matt Watson. You're listening to SCVi, and I lead School's Eye on the Valley. We'll be right back on your hometown station, KHTS.
Accidents happen, but rest assured Patterson's Collision Center is here to help. Patterson's is a family-owned and operated collision repair facility providing the Santa Clarita Valley with premium collision repairs. Patterson's prides itself on being the only California-certified green repair shop in all of Santa Clarita. They are insurance claim specialists and even offer payment plans for your deductible. For personalized, friendly service, visit pattersonscollisioncenter.com. or call 294-1011 and let Patterson's Collision Center help ease your worries today.
This holiday music is brought to you by Providence Holy Cross Medical Center, your community health partner. To learn more about our award-winning care, call 1-888-HEALING or visit us on the web at providence.org.
Why did Mercedes-Benz of Valencia win the Dealer of Excellence Award in 2019?
Because we strive to provide the most outstanding sales experience.
Mercedes-Benz of Valencia COO Chris Paz.
We know you have high expectations. Our stellar team will meet and exceed your expectations. That's why we were named Mercedes Best of the Best, placing us in the top 10% of all Mercedes dealers nationwide.
Find out how you can lease a new Mercedes for unbelievably low monthly payments. Details at mbzvalencia.com.
Your hometown station, KHTS.
Welcome back. You're listening to KHTS, your hometown station, 98.1 FM and 1220 AM. This is Matt Watson, and you're listening to SCVi, and I lead School's Eye on the Valley. My next guest today is Dr. Jennifer Smolos, Dean of the School of Visual and Performing Arts at College of the Canyons and Artistic Director of the Santa Clarita Performing Arts Center. Jennifer received her bachelor's degree in musical theater, her master's of fine arts in acting, her master's, check this out, her master's of music in vocal performance, and an advanced certificate in an advanced certificate in vocal pedagogy, and now her doctorate in educational leadership and administration in performing arts colleges and universities. All of this from the same institution, NYU Steinhardt. Most of those graduating summa cum laude. Oh, and don't let me forget her second master's in acting from Actors Studio Drama School. Man, COC seems to get the most highly educated and qualified staff anywhere, and it's not even close. Jennifer hails from the village of Penn Yan among the Finger Lakes in New York. She is here to share information about the spring 2022 season of the Santa Clarita Performing Arts Center, the PAC. Dr. Smolos, welcome to Eye on the Valley. How are you?
Good morning. Thank you so much, Matt, for that extraordinary welcome. I really appreciate it. It's a pleasure to be here this morning. COC is a very special place, so I'm delighted to be here.
It really is. You know, I've spoken to, over a dozen of your colleagues over the last year and a half or so, and it just never ceases to amaze me. Your staff is absolutely amazing. You guys have built an incredible team. So you are the artistic director of the Santa Clarita Performing Arts Center, known as the PAC. Can you tell us about the artists and events that are coming to the PAC this spring? What have we got coming up?
Absolutely. Thank you, Matt. So in addition to our School of Visual and Performing Arts instructional events and our community groups, we have an exciting lineup of professional artists and events at the PAC this spring. So we're excited to kick it off with bringing Dinosaur World Live back to the PAC on Saturday, March 12th at 12 and 4 p.m. And this is a family-friendly show and for ages 3+. And then the next day, we have legendary folk singer Judy Collins on Sunday, March 13th at 7 p.m., followed by the dynamic, classically influenced hip-hop duo Black Violin on Wednesday, March 23rd at 8 p.m. So it's a busy March for us. And then the following month in April, on Saturday, April 9th, we welcome legendary comedian and talk show host Jay Leno. And Jay has 2 shows on that Saturday, 5 p.m. and 8 p.m. And then on Mother's Day weekend, Saturday, May 7th at 8 p.m., we have Grammy-winning country star Crystal Gayle. And then we conclude our season with singer-songwriter, composer, record producer, and arts education advocate Ben Folds on Friday, June 17th at 8 p.m.
That is quite a lineup. My gosh,
Thank you.
I know the PAC has really become a hub for arts and entertainment here in Santa Clarita, but you're getting some world-class names there. Gosh, Crystal Gayle. Now, Jay Leno, I know everyone knows him for his work on The Tonight Show, but he's also, I've seen him several times doing stand-up. He's a phenomenal stand-up comic. In fact,
right.
if you've never seen Jay Leno live, he is absolutely hilarious. It's kind of the old Tonight Show, but with the gloves off. Do you know, is he going to be doing his stand-up work, or is it something a little bit different?
Yep. Yes, he's doing his stand-up. Yeah, and as you're saying, Matt, it's such a rare occasion to be able to see him, especially in a venue of our size, in such an intimate setting. And of course, he's our neighbor right down in Burbank. And we were actually supposed to bring Jay in for the 2020-2021 season, which of course we weren't able to do because of the pandemic. So we're really delighted to have him coming this spring.
That is fantastic. One more time, can you give us the dates for Jay Leno? That's something I want to get tickets for.
Absolutely. Thank you. Saturday, April 9th.
All right.
And there are 2 shows, 5 p.m. and 8 p.m.
All right, fantastic. And so, if folks are excited as I am, where can they find these tickets?
Absolutely. So tickets may be purchased on our website, and that's pac.canyons.edu, or by calling our box office at 661-362-5304.
Fantastic. Now, I love Jay Leno's comedy. I grew up with Crystal Gayle. You've got so many great artists. But talk to me about Dinosaur World Live. That sounds really exciting.
So we had Dinosaur World Live. My first year at COC was the 1920 academic year. Believe it or not, I just moved to California from New York in the summer of 2019. And Dinosaur World Live was the first family show that I saw at the Performing Arts Center. And it's an extraordinary, interactive, very high energy, amazing puppetry with the dinosaurs, and really the way the actors and the script brings the story to life. The kids were in awe for the full about 75 minutes of the show. So it takes us on a journey of a little girl and her parents who are scientists. And they make these discoveries of worlds past in the prehistoric era. So it's a really fun, very interactive show for, again, everybody age 3 and up.
Wow, gosh, yeah, it sounds perfect for anybody age 3 to 93. What a great activity for grandparents to take their grandkids to, obviously parents and kids. Oh, gosh, that sounds so exciting. Oh, amazing. Now,
and as a non-parent, I can tell you I really enjoyed it when I saw it 2 years ago. It was really a terrific show.
All righty. Now, maybe a couple of friends of mine and I can sneak in. My kids are a little bit older, so y'all won't judge me if I show up without a kid, right?
Not at all, because the puppeteering alone is really impressive. I mean, if any of the audience here today has seen something like War Horse, where you bring these animals to life in this puppeteering way, it's extraordinary what is possible theatrically these days.
Wow. Yeah, fantastic.
They really feel alive on the stage, yeah.
Fantastic. That sounds really exciting. What an amazing lineup. Now, it's funny. I seem to be asking every one of my guests questions aligned with the pandemic. It really has touched every part of our life. COVID really has just kicked us around for the better part of 2 years now. You mentioned you had to postpone Jay Leno. How else has the pandemic shaped the vision for the Santa Clarita Performing Arts Center?
It's a great question, Matt. In so many ways. I mean, certainly there's such, I think, a collective need for hope and human connection and joy. And I think a lot of us really missed and realized how much we miss live performance and being in that theatrical space, you know, when suddenly the lights go out and there's that moment of, that anticipatory moment right before the show begins. And I think in particular, there are some areas of the arts that really thrive during this time. And as an example of that, our commercial music program, which is a fairly new program within the college and the School of Visual and Performing Arts, really grew and expanded throughout the pandemic. And all of a sudden, in the remote learning environment, students were learning how to record and produce and engineer. In fact, our faculty and students produced 4 albums throughout the pandemic of work, of cover work and some original work. So part of my vision with this particular season coming up this spring is to expose and connect our students to legendary, award-winning artists in various mediums, and so that they're really able to see in their own space in our Performing Arts Center where they also perform somebody like a Ben Folds, somebody like a Judy Collins, you know, black violin, Crystal Gale coming in and being on that stage and knowing that, and again, to continue to inspire hope that we all need right now, but for our students to know that that is possible, that if they keep working, keep training, keep pushing themselves, they can be up there on the professional side of our Performing Arts Center, just like these artists.
That really is beautiful. You know, I was talking with Tori, who does the show before ours. She just came back from New York, saw a couple of Broadway shows, and now a lot of those are shutting down again because of this this new wave of the virus, and the pandemic really has been devastating on a lot of theatrical performers, live performing artists. But at the same time, a lot of folks have shown, I don't know, you're the one with all the degrees. Is nimbility a word? They've shown an incredible nimbleness, if you will, to shift and do things. For example, I know the folks down here on the Main, it's been tough for them. They weren't able to put on live shows for the longest time, but they were broadcasting via these different virtual platforms and actually getting audiences 2-3 times the size that they would normally could even fit in their auditorium from around the world. So it's great to hear that you were able to shift and not only continue offering these things, but exposing your students and the rest of the community to new artists. Now, that's right. I want to talk about you for a little bit because obviously I did a little bit of research about your background. You seem to be an incredible singer and vocal instructor. Tell us a little bit about your career path.
Sure. So I grew up in a very tiny town in upstate New York, about 6 hours northwest of New York City, and my entire family is on one road, most of which are still there, around a 1,200-acre farm. So I grew up in a, again, very rural community, but we did have a string program, and we were the only school in a 60-mile radius to have that. And so because of patrons of the arts that made that possible, you know, very comparable to what College of the Canyons is so fortunate to have in our Patrons of the Arts group, I was able to take violin lessons and be in orchestra and be in choirs and things free of charge. So I had an extraordinary start to my musical life and then went on to NYU on a full scholarship, which I would not have been able to go to a school of certainly of that caliber and price point without it. I had a single mom and we didn't have a lot of money, but that full scholarship allowed me to go to NYU, and as you mentioned earlier, I had my undergraduate degree in vocal performance, and then went out into the world and started performing professionally, and then went back to the actor's studio and was looking for more acting-specific training, and then I started teaching at the American Academy of Dramatic Arts, kind of by default. A colleague of mine got a tour and left and asked if I would be interested, and it all began. And then I was teaching for about 15 years before moving to Santa Clarita to become a dean. So it's been a very interesting journey. It's not necessarily what I imagined I would be doing, certainly, when I was certainly a kid, but also even in college. And I think that's one of the beautiful things about arts training and education is that it allows you to have so many transferable skills that you're able to carve a unique path for yourself. And that's something that I know the faculty and I are really excited about helping our students understand that they may want to be a performer, they may want to be a composer right now, but that could shift and change pretty rapidly and radically throughout their lives, and continuing to find joy in whatever they choose to explore, I think, is always one of the most important things. And I've certainly been lucky enough to continue to find joy and challenges in my own work.
Absolutely, and like you said, there's so much crossover. It's not just if you're getting your degree in the arts that's necessarily going to be the career path that you take, but it will serve you in almost any area. You mentioned something really important, Jennifer, that due to some patronage you were able to develop as an artist. Can you talk for a second about how important it is for folks, whether they're artists or not, to patronize and support the arts as early as with our young ones in elementary school?
Yes, I think access to the opportunity is so critical. I think if you can't see yourself up on that stage from the time you're a little kid in those seats, maybe up in the back of the balcony, and you can't imagine that something like this is possible, then you'll never go after it, right? And so I think certainly the patronage I had, which whether it was the violin rental for the year as a kid or competitions at the Eastman School of Music in Rochester or anything like that, I see in so many ways that's mirrored with our patrons of the arts groups here at College of the Canyons. You know, we fund our vocal jazz students and faculty to go to the University of Miami to a major competition. In fact, the first year I was here, they were one of only 6 groups in the nation, the only community college that was invited to the Frost School of Music at the University of Miami to have this special festival. And so we found the money through our patrons of the arts group to make that possible. And so that's just an example, or the Monterey Jazz Festival, or the Kennedy Center American Theater College Festival, or our work in media entertainment arts, our Litany, the Genocide Remembrance Project, which not only helps remember and capture the lived experiences of Holocaust survivors, but also helps our students maintain and develop a portfolio so that then when they go to college, transfer applications, or out into the world, in terms of job interviewing, they are prepared with a really professional portfolio to share. So I think that all I can say is that every dollar that comes in through our patrons of the arts has an impact on student lives. And there's a direct correlation between the funding that comes in and the outcomes and experiences that we're able to provide for our students. And honestly, it's one of the major reasons that I was so attracted to College of the Canyons when I saw the job posting. I thought, wow, this is a community that really cares about its students. And at $47 a unit in terms of education, what an extraordinary place for students to train and then transfer to a CalArts, to a Berkeley on the East Coast College of Music, to an Otis College of Art and Design. I mean, we're able to help students from the very forefront of their education not be overly indebted, and to really have that springboard into the field, because we all know if artists graduate with six-figure debt, it becomes very hard to become an artist and continue that path. So it's critical.
And you talk about access to the arts, which is why it's so important that we have the Santa Clarita Performing Arts Center, where you've got world-class artists coming in as early as this spring, just in a couple of months or so. These world-class acts coming in. We really appreciate you calling in today, Jennifer. One more time, if you'd like information or if you'd like to get tickets for any of the amazing shows that Jennifer was talking about, go to pac.canyons.edu, pac.canyons.edu. Dr. Smolos, thank you so much for calling in. You have a great weekend and a Merry Christmas.
College of the Canyons wants you to get ready, reset, and go when it comes to your future. Get ready by choosing from a large list of convenient, affordable spring classes. Hit reset by pursuing a degree, certificate, or skills class for that career you've always wanted. Then go to canyons.edu/schedule and sign up for classes today. Get ready, reset, and go at College of the Canyons. That's canyons.edu/schedule.
Moms, dads, this is Cardin Ellis, owner of Unipest. If your house has ants, spiders, or gophers, or you want a free orange oil termite inspection, you have to call Unipest Termite and Pest Control, Santa Clarita's only factory-certified orange oil pest control company. We specialize in organic, low-impact, and traditional pest control options that are all kid-friendly, pet-friendly, and affordable with no contracts, and we're SCV owned and operated. Call us at 661-BUG-7575 or visit unipest.com.
No doubt about it, LA is an awesome place to live. But even while living in the land of beaches and mountains, it's safe to say that we could all use a real vacation right about now. One where you don't have to stop for gas, cook your own meals, or strip your own sheets. Lucky for us, Princess Cruises has a port right here in LA. Now, for a limited time, LA residents can sail with Princess from just $89 per day to the beaches of Mexico, the tropics of Hawaii, or cruise along the California coast without getting stuck in traffic. That's right, just $89 per day. And while these great destinations aren't going anywhere, these deals won't be around forever. So visit princess.com, call 1-800-PRINCESS, or contact your travel advisor to book your cruise today. Set sail with LA's cruise line, Princess Cruises. Terms and restrictions apply. Promotional pricing ends November 30th, 2021. Ships are Bermudan and British registry. Before booking, consult the CDC website at www.cdc.gov.
KHTS, AM 1220 and 98.1 FM Santa Clarita. It's 9 o'clock. Time for national news on KHTS.
What we know and don't know about Omicron. Lisa Brady, Fox News. The White House COVID team just holding their latest briefing as COVID's new variant spreads quickly. So much more transmissible than the Delta variant. The numbers are rising exponentially in some areas, and not just the U.S. Ireland just announcing more than 1/3 of its cases are now Omicron. And Canada is now following in the UK's footsteps with so much spread. It's lifting travel restrictions on southern Africa, where the variant was first detected. But Dr. Anthony Fauci is saying moments ago the severity of this variant remains up in the air. And in the meantime, the U.S. is still in the midst of another Delta surge, as the CDC now recommends most people stick with the Pfizer or Moderna vaccines instead of Johnson & Johnson.
The decision follows a recommendation by a panel of independent vaccine experts that reviewed ongoing concerns about blood clots affecting small but above baseline numbers of J&J vaccine recipients.
Fox's Jonathan Seri. The president, meantime, is visiting South Carolina, giving a commencement address at what he calls a tumultuous time in U.S. history. Fox's Evan Brown has this live.
Hey, Lisa, President Biden addressed graduating students at South Carolina State University, an historically black campus, where he focused on civil rights and white supremacists.
Virginia, Charlottesville, Virginia, carrying torches and Nazi banners, screeching most anti-Semitic and anti-black rhetoric in history.
The president received an honorary doctorate of humane letters. Also attending was South Carolina Congressman Jim Clyburn, who graduated from the institution but had no commencement ceremony, and so he was given one today, Lisa.
Thanks, Evan. There's a big sell-off on Wall Street for the Dow. It's down 502 points. America is listening to Fox News.
When news breaks, millions are turning to Newsmax. Get the latest on COVID, Biden's inflation, and the truth from Washington. Each weekday, Chris Salcedo probes vaccine mandates and looks at the potential dangers. Find Newsmax on all major cable systems or streaming on Amazon Fire, Samsung, Roku, Zumo, Pluto, and more. Millions are also watching the free Newsmax app on their phones. So download it today and start watching Newsmax for news you can really trust.
Dell Technologies' end-of-year sale is the perfect time to upgrade tech. Save big on the latest computers featuring Windows 11 Pro that easily automate workflows. Don't forget to shop servers, storage, and top-brand electronics with savings up to 45% and all with free shipping. Call a Dell Technologies advisor to help you transform your digital workspaces with comprehensive end-to-end solutions. Find the right tech for your business needs at 877-ASK-DELL. That's 877-ASK-DELL.
They're still assessing damage in parts of the Midwest and the South from last week's tornadoes.
It's been 1 week since 35 confirmed tornadoes ripped across multiple states, one of them in Kentucky.
Stayed on the ground for over 200 miles. 200 miles. This was potentially the longest continued path of any tornado in U.S. history.
Kentucky Republican Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell visiting hard-hit communities today like Mayfield, where destruction is so vast that it's still being assessed, where a high school has been transformed into a makeshift market for basic needs.
Fox's Jeff Manasso. The storms killed dozens of people in 5 states, most of them in Kentucky, where the governor has just announced it's now at least 77 dead. Today, Kentucky is enduring a second day of heavy rain, while Kansas battles lingering fires fueled by hurricane-force winds in deadly storms that pounded several Midwest and Plains states Wednesday. What's on social media is leading to high anxiety in schools.
School districts across the country, including here in New York City, are very much on edge. Viral social media posts, reportedly on TikTok as well as other platforms, threaten shootings and bombings targeting schools. So far, as best we know, none of these threats are credible. There has been, though, at least one arrest. In Corona, California, a 14-year-old boy was taken into custody for threatening an attack in response to police being present at a school. A search of the teen's home found no weapons. Police believe he acted alone. A number of districts, though, have increased security. Some have canceled classes, including Norwich, Connecticut.
Fox's David Lee Miller. TikTok says it's taking the threats seriously and working with law enforcement. A milestone for Pope Francis, celebrating his 85th birthday. The last pope to have lived longer was Leo XIII over a century ago. I'm Lisa Brady. This is Fox News.
I'm Stuart Varney, and this is the Fox Business Report.
Stocks are slumping. Options and futures are expiring today. It is quadruple witching, which means investors are making changes in their portfolios. The National Retail Federation is predicting roughly half of American shoppers still have some items to cross off their holiday lists, which is expected to make Saturday a busy day for shopping. Boeing shares are higher, though 2 major clients, Air France, KLM, and Qantas, both placed large orders with Airbus instead. Shares of shipping giant FedEx are rallying after it reported better than expected earnings and raised expectations for next year. FedEx is paying its staff more. It fielded 111,000 applications in 1 week for hourly positions, higher than any week in its history. That's your Fox Business Report. I'm Jenny Cosola, invested in you.
Is your current home loan the right fit for you? Your historic low rates may be a great reason to refinance, but when matched with an expertly chosen loan from Loan Depot, you could be saving money and paying more towards the bottom line. Call a Loan Depot loan officer and ask about our 27-year Smart Term loan or our 10-year ARM loan. Get a great rate matched with a great loan by calling 866-888-LOAN or visit loandepot.com. At Loan Depot, home means everything. Rates are subject to change. Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing opportunity. NMLS number 174457. Licensed in 50 states.
Thanks for listening to KHTS AM 1220. Canyon Country, California. K260 CO 98.1 FM. Santa Clarita, California.
SCVi is a tuition-free TK through 12 charter school that gives your child boundless opportunities to think critically and imagine freely. We offer a customized learning program built around your child's unique interests and strengths, with the only International Baccalaureate program in all of Santa Clarita. Our approach keeps students and families in step no matter where your learning is taking place. Be empowered to make your mark on the world at SCVi. To take a tour or enroll now in our one-of-a-kind program, visit ileadsantaclarita.org. iLead Schools, free to think, inspired to lead.
Stone Oven, the healthy alternative. You've never tasted a sandwich like this before. Gourmet bread cooked before your eyes. Stone Oven at the food court at Valencia Town Center.
Save at the best Santa Clarita restaurants. Restaurant Row, where everything is half price. Click on hometownstation.com and discover incredible savings. Online or at our radio station, everyone saves with Restaurant Row. Check it out at hometownstation.com. Restaurant Row, where everything is half price.
Why did Mercedes-Benz of Valencia win the Dealer of Excellence Award in 2019?
Because we strive to provide the most outstanding sales experience.
Mercedes-Benz of Valencia COO Chris Paz.
We know you have high expectations. Our stellar team will meet and exceed your expectations. That's why we were named Mercedes Best of the Best, placing us in the top 10% of all Mercedes dealers nationwide.
Find out how you can lease a new Mercedes for unbelievably low monthly payments. Details at mbzvalencia.com.
Santa Clarita Valley residents now have greater access to the excellent physicians and high-quality medical services for which Providence Holy Cross is known. Providence Holy Cross Health Center in Santa Clarita features state-of-the-art cancer and imaging technologies, as well as board-certified physicians in a variety of medical specialties. Quality and compassion from a healthcare provider you can depend on. For more information, call 1-888-HEALING or visit us at providence.org.
The following is sponsored programming and does not necessarily reflect the views or opinions of KHTS or its ownership.
Welcome back. You're listening to KHTS, your hometown station, 98.1 FM and 1220 on the AM side. This is Matt Watson, your host, and you are listening to SCVi and iLead School's Eye on the Valley. We are coming to you live from the KHTS studios here at the center of Main Street in beautiful downtown Newhall, decked out in all its holiday glory. You got to get down here to Main Street this weekend. There's so much going on. We spoke earlier with Mr. Reyes from Reyes Winery. He's got his new rooftop location here on Main Street where you can enjoy a wine tasting and world-class meal while looking out across the entire valley here. And there's a lot of other locations down here in downtown Newhall. Get down here and enjoy the holidays. Joining me now is Farnaz Kaufman, the Director of Global Initiatives with iLead Schools. She is a wife, a mother, an educator, and a self-proclaimed geek. Farnaz was born in Tehran, Iran, and has lived all over the world, attending over 10 schools in 5 different countries, and this is all before college. She's an innovative and creative problem solver. Along with her love of science and engineering, Farnaz trained extensively in musical theater and played varsity club and college soccer. After graduating with a master's in Earth and Planetary Sciences from Johns Hopkins University and serving in the U.S. Army as an officer, yes, she has done pretty much literally everything. She discovered that her real passion lay in education. She's been an educator now for over 25 years, both as a classroom teacher and as the founding administrator at Cal STEAM Charter School. Farnaz is certificated as a virtual learning space teacher, utilizing one-to-one technology and infusing art instruction across the curriculum. She's also trained and specialized in teaching highly gifted and twice exceptional students. Farnaz, welcome back to Eye on the Valley.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here today.
Well, we love having you on. And, you know, Farnaz, you and I have worked together. Do you believe it's been the better part of a decade now?
I know. Can you believe it?
And I did just a little bit of research. This time I decided to focus on your first name. You know, I always thought that I had a special name because Matthew means gift from God, and I always thought that that was kind of awesome. But check out what I found, and I'm sure you know this, but Farnaz actually means in Persian, check this out, the most elegant and charming in a way that attracts people. What an amazing name. Wow. So
I'm trying to live up to it, though.
Oh, well, you absolutely do in so many different ways. And let's just talk about your title here, right? I know that you used to be, you specialize in having amazing titles. You used to be the Director of Intellectual Curiosity. How cool was that on a business card? But now you're the Director of Global Initiatives. So can you tell us what that means? What do you do as the Director of Global Initiatives with iLead Schools?
So one of my biggest functions is bringing the eye of international back to iLead. And so
let's pause right there. So for our listeners that don't know, iLead is an acronym: International Leadership, Entrepreneurial Development, Arts and Design Thinking. So you bring that I to iLead International. Continue.
Yeah, and so what I'm focusing on is I'm trying to do it in 3 different ways. So obviously the traditional doing cultural exchanges with students from our schools going to other countries and students from other countries coming to ours, which is usually where most people stop with international. But we're also adding 2 other components. We added our Dual Language Immersion program, which is why I'm here to talk to you about today. And then the third thing I'm working on this year is developing cross-cultural connections with schools, with international schools everywhere, and creating opportunities for our classes to interact and do projects with kids in other countries.
Wow, and you know, that's one of those silver linings that the pandemic has brought us, right? We learned as a world, as a global community, how easy it is to connect, didn't we?
It's amazing because I tried launching something similar several years ago, and people were hesitant. How can you work on projects virtually? I'm not sure if this will work. And you're right, because of having to switch to remote instruction and virtual teaching all throughout the pandemic, people are now more comfortable with it and are open to the idea of, oh, I could work with kids in another country and do it virtually and have our kids interact, and it won't be difficult.
And I love that that iLead Schools has someone who specializes in coordinating these efforts and bringing all of these amazing different possibilities to our schools. So let's talk about how you are uniquely suited for this role. Well, you really are. You know, I talked about it in your introduction. You've done so much. You've traveled all over the world. So can you quickly share a little bit about your path and how your career has grown and what brought you to iLead?
Sure. Like you said, I grew up and have lived all over the world. And as a result, I've seen every style of education possible. My parents are also both educators. My father was a professor before going into the private sector, and my mom retired as a professor. So education and being part of it has always surrounded us. I started as a classroom teacher, and Matt, you know, the classroom I started in was actually the room you were being trained in that same year. So
that's where I was taking my credentialing courses.
We were there together in spirit. And I think what I found is that teaching kids, you need to make it real. You need to have connections. They need to see beyond just what's in those four walls and beyond what's in their own community. So the more connections we can make to the outside world, and especially outside of our own community, our country, our nation, etc., the more we become aware of everything else, and the more we can now better ourselves.
Right.
So that was important to me. The other thing is I speak multiple languages, and being multilingual was something that I found was lacking in the United States. We tend to only teach languages in high school.
Yeah.
And that puts us at a disservice, because if you look at any research, language acquisition needs to be done at a very young age, and it needs to be done with consistency. And if it's not done that way, then what we end up with is kids who graduate high school, and maybe they know how to conjugate verbs, but they can't speak the other language. And so that was my other big passion in bringing that in. So being in education, finding my way to iLead because I was looking for other places that believed in being creative, hands-on, relating with kids, social emotional learning, everything that iLead is was what I was doing in my own little classroom in my own little school. So it was just a very natural match for me. And then now being able to bring in what my true passions of international education are into our schools is it excites me every morning.
Yeah, you know what you say about learning languages, it is important that kids start to learn early on. This was actually kind of the specialty that I studied when I was getting my credential there in the classroom that you were teaching in, is language acquisition. And it's natural, right? When you think about when do we learn to talk? Well, it's when we're children. Did you know that the physical part of your brain that's responsible for language acquisition, learning languages, is actually the only part of your brain that shrinks as you get older? And that makes sense, right? So that
explains everything.
Well, yeah, which is why the research that you're referring to is showing that it's more beneficial and easier for kids to learn new languages when they're younger, and why adults oftentimes say, I have such a hard time learning new languages. You know, I'm 40 years old and I want to go to France on vacation, but I'm really struggling to learn French. It's because it is physically more difficult for adults. So we need to teach these things to our kids when they're younger. And so, as you mentioned, yeah, we're here to talk about the Dual Immersion program that you're helping to coordinate at SCVi. Now, although dual immersion is not new to schools by any means, and it's not even new to SCVi, it has expanded this year to include more grades. Can you tell us about the dual language immersion program at SCVi?
Sure. So last year we launched the program during the pandemic, which everyone thought was crazy.
Sure.
But it was so highly successful and so much parent interest that we extended it. And so last year we had all of 2 classes, and this year we've doubled to 4. We are serving grades K through 3 this year, and then next year it will be K through 4 and adding a grade level every year. And our plan is to extend the program all the way through 8th grade.
Okay. So you're going to continue to add. This is kind of the organic fashion that SCVi started out as. We started out kindergarten through 4th grade and 7th grade, and then we kind of added 2 grade levels. The following year we added 5th and 8th, then 6th and 9th, and up into the high school. And it is a great way to build your program. So currently it's K to 3, and you've got 4 classes. So that sounds like 1 class per grade level?
No, actually, because we follow the iLead philosophy of multi-age grouping, we actually have 2 K1 classes and 2 2-3 classes. The beauty of the multi-age is that it allows us to differentiate specifically for the needs of the kids. So if a child needs more support in a subject or less support in a subject, we can group our kids accordingly, and we can group them across all 4 grade levels, honestly, so that their needs are being met.
Well, that's amazing. And so if I've got a kindergartner that, maybe we only speak English at home, but I really value this idea of being bilingual, which I still don't think we've talked enough about how important that is.
No, we haven't.
But if my kindergartner enrolls, doesn't speak a word of Spanish, he's now in a class where half of his classmates are in 1st grade, probably were in the program last year, and so they're not fully bilingual. Of course, it takes a little bit longer than that, but they're developing some of those basic skills where they're kind of, I guess, serving as mentors, right? And
that's exactly it. They're modeling it for you. And so when you bring in the next class, not only are the kids who were there the year before modeling the language, they're modeling the expectations, they're modeling the routines. And so as a result, now you've got half a class that knows what to do, and half a class that's new and can learn from not only from the facilitator, but from the other learners in the class.
And the same is true for their mathematical skills, their writing, even the behavioral component of what goes on in a classroom, that it becomes cyclical. I did this, I think for 3 years, where I taught a multi-age class. And, as a teacher for years and years and years, you dedicate that first 3 to 4 weeks building routines and establishing behavioral expectations. When you've got half your class that's coming back as returners, it cuts that time in less than in half. And so the same has got to be true for the linguistic stuff, because you can rely on those older kids to really help the younger ones. And then the beauty is the younger ones become the mentors the next year. It really is great.
It's incredible, Matt. I have had multi-age classrooms for 15 years of my teaching. So I did it a lot, and I know it works.
Yeah.
And the beauty is, as a facilitator, you're not starting from scratch every year. So as a facilitator, I don't need to go through all my norms and my expectations as much as I would need to if I had a whole new batch of kids.
Right.
The other best part of that is you already have relationships with learners. And so when the new kids come in, they see those relationships. They understand the dynamics of the class, which now allows them to start learning much more quickly instead of having to focus on norms and procedures. The best part of it for me, however, is watching the growth of when they come in and being able to have that child for 2 years to see the complete transformation that takes place as they grow in 2 years worth of educational growth versus 1 is absolutely amazing. And it is across all subjects. It makes a difference in every area of study.
You're absolutely right. I was having a conversation a couple days ago with a friend of mine, and she was telling me, she says, Matt, it's been frustrating all through school with my kid because he's a little bit different. All kids are, right? And she says, hey, I know, my kid is he's a little bit of a struggle, and for teachers, he's a good kid, but a little bit deceptive, and so it takes a good 8 to 10 weeks for his teachers to get to know him. She says, But by that time, it's 25% into the school year, and then we start over next year. And so, yeah, having that same facilitator build relationships with their kids over multiple years is just such a huge benefit. But Farnaz, let's talk about bilingualism, because I said we kind of glossed over it. I've seen it with my own children. While I was raised only speaking English, my ex and I decided to raise our kids in a bilingual home, and I know you grew up in a bilingual home. It's about more than
kids.
I'm sorry?
And my kids.
And your kids too, correct. So, but it's more than just learning another language. Can you talk to me about some of the benefits that you've seen in your personal life as well as your professional life? Other than learning a second language, what benefits does bilingualism bring?
Well, we can talk about, it does. It brings the bilingualism and biliteracy of not only speaking but understanding, being able to read and write in another language. But truly what ends up becoming the best part of dual language immersion is, first of all, the cross-cultural competence. Mm-hmm. Learning about another culture, learning about people who are different from you, learning about different traditions and ideas of culture, and now being able to integrate it. First of all, it develops empathy, but it also develops a thirst for more knowledge. Because now you found something that you didn't know before, and it's interesting and it's intriguing. So that to me is very important, and that leads to, of course, global citizenship, because we are now more aware of what's going on around the world as opposed to in our own little microcosm. But I know that to parents, that's wonderful. But to parents, I think what really hits the hardest when looking at a dual immersion program is that when you are biliterate, it actually increases grade level achievement in every academic area. And that's huge. That means that if you're in a dual immersion program, in the first year or two, it may look like it's kind of slow because you're picking up another language. But what ends up happening is the synapses that are happening in the brain actually create these neural pathways that allow you to increase your understanding of the material. And what you find is a few years later, the kids who've been in a dual language immersion program will outperform their counterparts in a single language environment.
And, it also translates to what we call maybe soft skills or those intangibles. People who learn and become truly bilingual, they learn two different systems, and they learn that there's more than one way of doing things. And I'll give you the perfect example. My oldest, when she was 3 years old, she had become bilingual, and there was a day that it sort of clicked in her brain. Oh my gosh, I can speak two languages. And the way she expressed that to me, she says, Daddy, I have two words. And so we started talking about different people and how they express themselves. And she knew that she had one grandmother that only spoke English and one grandmother that only spoke Spanish. And she had the ability to speak both languages. And what was clicking in her brain is, wait, there's more than one way to express myself. There's more than one way to do things. There's more than one way to be right. And that has led to higher levels of problem solving, creativity. I don't think it's a coincidence that both of my kids are extremely artistically inclined. And so that type of just thinking in different systems and ability to manipulate your thoughts that way really, really serves kids. And then also there's the cultural component. And so, gosh, I'm kind of surprising you with this, and so I hope you don't mind. Do you mind if we talk about the unique culture in your home, Farnaz?
No, not at all.
Okay, so you talk about cultural competence. It's the ability to interact with others who come from a different background than yours. Talk to me about the holidays in your home, Farnaz. That's kind of an interesting scenario that you've got going on.
So, as you said, I was born in Tehran. I am Iranian. My parents are Iranian, married other Iranians. There's the whole lineage. And I'm the first and probably only person in my family to marry outside of my own culture. Mm-hmm. And I ended up marrying a man, Adam, who also works for iLead, whose family is Ashkenazi Jews. Mm-hmm. And so here's my Persian Muslim family with my husband's Jewish German family. Mm-hmm. And, I had to find a way for us to connect and find a way for our families to merge. so I decided that Christmas has always been my favorite holiday. Yes, the Muslim who celebrates Christmas. So because I decided it was my favorite holiday, we were going to do Christmas every year. And so my Muslim family and my husband's Jewish family come, and we have a very traditional Christmas dinner. So it's the perfect blend of all cultures. It shows our kids that culture is universal, and you can honor your own culture and others at the same time. And so we'll do the very traditional Christmas dinner that I make, and my mother-in-law will bring something like homemade lox or kugel, and my parents will bring Persian food. So it all comes together as this beautiful dinner.
Now, it's not a traditional American Christmas unless you've got that crazy aunt or uncle at the table. So I hope you do.
Yeah, we've got plenty of those.
Okay, I was going to say, because Farnaz, you know what they say, right? If you can't figure out who the crazy person at the Christmas table is,
then it's you.
It's you, right. We do need to take a quick commercial break, but before we do, Farnaz, can you tell our listeners about the Dual Immersion program and the rest of the exciting programs at SCVi? How can they get connected? Where can they go to get more information?
So there's two things. You can, first of all, always go to the school website for SCVi, which is ileadsantaclarita.org. And there is a place for learning options to learn more specifically about dual immersion. Or you can always email us at info@ileadschools.org, and I will personally respond to those emails.
Well, fantastic. That is awesome. We're talking to Farnaz Kaufman, the Director of Global Initiatives with SCVi and iLead Schools. When we come back, we'll hear more about the Dual Immersion program at SCVi. I'm Matt Watson, and you're listening to SCVi and iLead Schools' Eye on the Valley on your hometown station, KHTS.
'Tis the season to celebrate. Join the San Diego Zoo for Jungle Bells, presented by California Coast Credit Union. Taking place December 10th through the 23rd and 25th through the 31st. And also January 1st and 2nd, Jungle Bells brings the return of Aurora, a magical and spectacular experience with lights, projections, and music. Also enjoy traditional lighting displays, musical performances, and entertainment. Visit with Santa through December 25th and enjoy tasty holiday treats and much more. Visit sdzwa.org for more info.
See the safari park in a whole new light every weekend and select weekdays starting November 26th through January 2nd, 2022. You can go on a holiday expedition of light and travel through places that glow and twinkle with holiday cheer. Holiday tunes set the mood, and seasonal food treats tempt you throughout your journey. A joyful celebration of the season. For more information, visit sdzwa.org.
Experience Frontier Toyota's all-new hot and exciting Toyota lineup. Serving the Santa Clarita Valley for over 30 years. Frontier Toyota, the Camry, Corolla, and Prius Kings. They're tops in Tacoma and Tundra trucks. Frontier Toyota, the new way of car buying. Shop from home at frontiertoyota.com or visit their showroom at Valencia and Creekside. Discover a whole new car buying experience with your friends at Frontier Toyota.
The shows must go on. The Main in Santa Clarita is your destination for free online music, theater, art, and entertainment opportunities. Tune into fun variety nights, join a talent show, learn from filmmaking experts, attend a modern play, and more from the comfort of your home. For more information and to view upcoming events, go to facebook.com/themainnewhall or at themain.org. Enjoy the shows.
A Royal Suite Home Furnishings has been family-owned and operated in Santa Clarita since 1978. They keep America working by stocking heritage-quality furniture made right here in the USA. With high-end design and thousands of fabrics to choose from, a Royal Suite offers a wide selection of furniture at incredibly low prices. Pay 0% interest with your approved credit for 12, 24, 36, or 48 months. See store for details. Visit A Royal Suite, massive showroom on Carl Boyer Drive near Sam's Club in Santa Clarita.
A Royal Suite. Sweet dreams.
Your hometown station.
KHTS is the only station I listen to.
98.1 FM and AM 1220.
Welcome back. You're listening to KHTS, your hometown station, 98.1 FM and 1220 on the AM side. This is SCVi and iLead Schools' Eye on the Valley. I'm your host, Matt Watson. And this morning we're talking with the Director of Global Initiatives with iLead Schools, Farnaz Kaufman. Farnaz is helping to coordinate the Dual Immersion program for kindergarten through third grade and growing. So if you're looking to enroll a fourth grader, you'll have that as an option at SCVi next year. So, Farnaz, we touched on this a little bit before the break, but I'd like you just to reiterate why dual immersion, the dual immersion language program is something that SCVi is focusing on and growing. Because while I think all of us would agree it's beneficial, as we said, to learn a second language, gosh, especially Spanish here in Southern California, but it's beneficial to all the other academic areas for growing problem solving and developing creative thought. There's so many benefits, but it's got to come to the detriment of other subject areas, because if they're learning things in English and then they're learning them in Spanish, it'll affect like maybe their math or don't they learn to write more slowly or things like that. Does it not take its toll on some of the other academic areas?
Absolutely not. I'll be very honest, no. Number one, because we're a 50-50 dual immersion model, what that means is our learners spend half their day in English and then the second half or first half of their day, the other half of the day in Spanish. And we want to be sure that our kids are having high academic achievement in all areas. So what we've designed is that they're doing the language arts in both subjects. They have English language arts and Spanish language arts. Mm-hmm. We are then taking the other core academic areas of math, social studies, and science, and we've developed a program where the math is taught in English, so they're having English language arts and math in English every day. And then the science and social studies are taught along with the Spanish language arts in Spanish. Oh. And so what that allows is that the core competencies in language arts and math, which is what most parents worry about, mm-hmm. are being initially taught in English, so that the academics are being built and the core foundations are being built. However, we can introduce that second language through the areas that are more hands-on and where our projects actually live, which is in social studies and science. So we are bridging that language gap by instructing the vocabulary and the development of understanding of the standards in science and social studies through Spanish that then translates right into their projects, which will be in both languages.
And because it's more experiential, they're developing the understanding, even if they don't fully master the language yet.
Exactly.
That makes total sense. I remember I mentioned to you that my in-laws didn't speak English, and my mother and her husband don't speak Spanish. But I remember at the time I got married, my stepfather was rebuilding a classic car. And he and my father-in-law and I went into the garage. I know nothing about cars, but he was able to teach my stepfather how to fix whatever it was that he was working on his car, even though they didn't speak the same two languages, because it was so, project-based, hands-on, experiential. Wow, that's amazing. So, okay.
That's exactly it. Between the projects, and we also, of course, use total physical response, TPR techniques, mm-hmm. so that there are hand motions and physical movement that goes with the new vocabulary as it's being taught. And between that and the complete immersion and experiential learning and the project-based instruction, it truly develops the second language, whether it's in English or Spanish, depending on the native language of the learner. It develops that second language in an organic fashion. Mm. So you're not memorizing and conjugating verbs. You're not learning things in isolation. You're learning that vocabulary with a purpose, and you're seeing it translate into real life right away.
So the learning comes in context, which is the way we try to teach everything at SCVi, so that it becomes more permanent. It's not this stale, out of context, meaningless, teacher, when am I ever going to use this kind of context? It's you're learning it because you're using it now. You guys have certainly put a lot of thought into why and how to roll out a successful dual immersion program. So can you tell us what it looks like when my kid is in the classroom? What does a typical day or week look like for our learners in a dual immersion classroom?
Sure. So as I said, they're going to start in either one or the other. So they're going to either start in Spanish or English. So let's take a typical child. We'll start with a second grader who starts their day in their English classroom. So every day we start with advisory or morning meetings. So every child will report to their facilitator, whether that's the Spanish facilitator or English facilitator that they have, and they will start the morning with activities, team building, a morning meeting, sometimes a listening circle or ways of counsel, restorative circle to discuss whatever's going on for that day.
Okay.
So we make sure right away we've got our kids engaged. We're making sure that they are ready to learn, that we have handled any social emotional needs prior to the academics. Then that child would start with English language arts. So they would have their, whatever standard and topic we're covering through that project at the time would be covered in the English language arts standards of the reading, writing, listening, speaking. And they're going to focus on that. Then that child will probably have their math instruction right after, still in English. So now they're going to work on their numeracy skills. I actually substituted in the 2-3 dual language class yesterday, and we got to work on time and how do we add time and figure out what time things happen, knowing how many minutes have elapsed. Mm-hmm. So we did that in English yesterday. Then usually after lunch, they're going to bridge and switch to the other facilitator. So now we're switching languages. In the Spanish class, they're going to start again with the language arts. So they're going to start with Spanish language arts, looking at vocabulary, reading, writing, speaking, listening, and again, tied to the same project that they're working on in both classes. That will be followed by either the science or social studies lessons, because that's where our projects live. They live in our standards in science or social studies. Mm-hmm. So they're usually going to have one or the other for a 5 to 6 week period. And then they'll switch to that class. They're going to work on science or social studies. We just did the life cycle of the butterfly in that class. And so there was a picture book about the life cycle of the butterfly in Spanish. And so using that book and TPR, we were able to teach our learners the vocabulary necessary to describe the life cycle of the butterfly. What that's going to expand to now is understanding elapsed time, having the language arts skills in both Spanish and English, now having the science vocabulary of a life cycle. They can now move into their project, which is based on understanding life cycles of different animals and looking at how life cycles are viewed in different cultures and symbolism, and they can tackle that project now from all 4 academic strands in both languages.
Okay. Now,
I hope that makes sense.
It does. And I know that there's got to be a couple of listeners out there thinking, honestly, what I thought when I was a kid. Okay, great. So my kids are learning to speak English and Spanish, but they're studying social studies and science in Spanish. They're going to have to go back and learn those skills in English again. But that is not true. That would be the assumption that we have 2 separate brains for the different languages. And let me prove it to you. For example, if your child learns that mammals are a classification of animal that have fur and lungs, and they give birth to live young, and they nurse their young, et cetera, that's what we refer to as mammals. I can teach your child in Spanish that the word for mammal is mamífero, and those same concepts, they just automatically apply in the new language. It's not something that has to go back and be retaught. So it really is a strong philosophical and theoretical way to learn, and it's working for our kids, isn't it?
Well, we see proof of it. I mean, your example is exactly the perfect proof. We have scientists from all over the world who work on projects together. That doesn't mean that they learn that material in the same language.
Right, and have to go back and get another PhD. Yeah. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Gosh, and it makes sense. What doesn't make sense is that for years and even still, we continue to raise a society that only speaks one language. It really does have so many different benefits. So, Farnaz, can you tell us one more time, parents who are interested, where can they go to get more information? Or if they're convinced, where can they go to enroll?
So I would suggest 2 things. Number one, if you want to go to the website, ileadsantaclarita.org, On that website, you can see special programs and learn more about dual language immersion. You can also complete the form to sign up on that, or you could even complete the enrollment form completely for SCVi. If you're looking for more information, you're not sure, you'd like to come to an informational night, or just have some specific questions, you can email us directly at info@ileadschools.org, and I will personally respond to those emails.
Fantastic. And if you're looking for a little bit more information on SCVi's Dual Immersion program, and you're following us on Facebook Live, producer Sarah has dropped the link here in the chat. So go ahead and check us out on the KHTS or KHTS Facebook page. But that website is, are you ready for a long one? It's ileadsantaclarita.org/learning-options/dual-immersion. Just go to the ileadsantaclarita.org website and poke around. There's a lot of great information there, and you'll find more information on our dual immersion program. Farnaz, thank you so much for joining us this morning. We appreciate your time. When we get back, it's time for more fun with Big T's 5 Minutes of Fame. Now, Farnaz, I signed off with my last guest by saying Merry Christmas, and I think I can wish you a Merry Christmas too, can I?
Yes, you may.
You enjoy the holidays. It's always wonderful talking to you. You take care, Farnaz.
Thank you. You too. Merry Christmas, everyone.
Bye-bye. This is SCVi and iLead Schools Eye on the Valley. I'm your host, Matt Watson. We'll be right back with Big T on your hometown station, KHTS.
If you need help at home or at the office, call Made For You. Made For You is a locally owned, bonded, and licensed cleaning service with over 20 years of experience. All employees are vetted for your protection. No need to buy products or equipment. The Made For You staff comes complete with everything needed to make your home or office cleaner than ever. Hire Made For You one time, as needed, or an ongoing basis. No room is off limits. Laundry and ironing services are also available. Call Made For You for a free estimate. 255-2922. That's 255-2922.
Welcome, folks, to the Backyard Masterpiece Podcast. We have Tom here, a first-time DIYer, talking about the multi-tiered rose garden he planted in his yard. How did you begin this masterpiece?
Well, the first thing I did was make the call.
The call?
Yes, to 811. I knew my project required digging, so I had SoCalGas come and mark my natural gas lines.
Pro tip, take notes, people. Always contact 811 by phone or online 2 business days before you dig.
Yep.
Visit SoCalGas.com/811 to learn more.
You might not know the difference between a fade, a pompadour, a cropped fringe, or faux mohawk, but the Sport Clips Guys Smart Stylists sure do. We know you don't think about haircuts 24/7. That's Sport Clips' job. That's why Sport Clips specializes in haircuts for men and boys. Sport Clips has turned something you have to do into something you want to do. You don't ever need an appointment at Sport Clips, and you'll walk out feeling like an MVP. Guaranteed. Sport Clips at the Santa Clarita location nearest you.
Excellence isn't just a word, it is what we deliver. Vanguard Protection Group is committed to providing its clients with the highest echelon of protective services available. Our clients not only receive the security services they contract for, but also reports that are well-written, articulate, and thorough. Our patrol officers operate at the highest levels and have an impressive rapport with local law enforcement. With military, police, private policing, and courtroom experience, you can trust that we have the strength to deliver our promise of excellence. Contact Vanguard Protection by calling 661-753-3611 or visiting their website at vanguardprotectiongroup.com.
When you think about your next place, maybe even your forever place, are you hearing more of this and less of this? Introducing 5 Point Valencia, a vibrant new community coming to the Santa Clarita Valley. A place with parks, trails, and fresh architecture, all tuned to the way people want to live today. New homes for all, with prices to match, from the low 400,000s to over $1 million. Learn more at valencia.com.
Your hometown station, KHTS.
Welcome back. You're listening to KHTS, your hometown station, 98.1 FM and 1220 on the AM side. This is SCVi and iLead Schools Eye on the Valley, and I am your host, Matt Watson, and I am now joined by producer Sarah. Sarah, how are you doing this morning?
Wonderful, thank you.
You put together a fantastic show. Thank you so much.
Oh, you do all the heavy lifting, my friend. It's a great show, and we have great guests.
Fantastic guests today.
I love this show.
And don't give me too much credit. I just make with the blah blahs. But It is now time for Big T's 5 Minutes of Fame. Sarah, you know Big T. Y'all know Big T. He is a longtime resident and leader of the Santa Clarita Valley, an executive and philanthropist. Big T is an amazing father, husband, and community leader. He is also the reason that shampoo bottles have instructions on them. He's Mom's favorite. Big T, welcome to the show.
He's also making a little side scratch at the mall as Santa Claus, too.
Nice. Hey, where are your reindeer?
They're right over there.
Oh, cool. Thanks.
I already made that joke today.
We're making him one of us. All right. So here's the rules, Big T. We're gonna play a little bit of trivia, and Sarah, Patty, and Maddie are gonna. Well, it's hard to tell the difference between Patty and Maddie, so I go by Frogger. I can explain that over lunch or something like that sometime. But so we have to hit our buzzers, right? Because we call out our names so that you know who's buzzing in first. But those folks at home, or if you're on the freeways in your car listening, you can play along too, and you get to cheat. You don't have to buzz in. Just shout out the answer when you know them. We'll hear you. You just keep score on your own. All right, Big T, let's do this.
Hey, I want to kick it off with a little bit of a fun fact, but also a public service reminder. Okay. You know, everybody's got the holiday cheer about them. They're leaving their houses with great intentions to spread that holiday cheer. They're listening to Christmas music. But sometimes, Matt, and this is a reminder, that the best intentions don't always get followed. So we're all missing baseball right now. We're out of baseball season, but they're on the strike. But little baseball fun fact.
It's not a strike. It's a lockout. It's those dastardly owners. Okay.
Back in 1995, the Durham Bulls, famous minor league team,
right?
They hosted Strikeout Domestic Violence Night. Right. During that game, 10 players were ejected for fighting. The Warthogs pitcher, Glenn Cullup, lost several teeth and was knocked unconscious during the brawl.
Yoy!
Wow.
Strikeout Domestic Violence Night.
And a hockey game broke out right there on the pitcher's mound.
Absolutely. Wow. Hey, we got some holiday trivia. We've got some basic trivia, but I'm going to kick it off with some holiday movie quotes. All right, we ready for this? We'll see how it goes over.
Let's do it.
I'll give you the quote. You give me the movie.
All right. Okay.
The best way to spread Christmas cheer is singing loud for all. Who did I hear first, Patty?
I think it was me, wasn't it?
It was definitely.
Oh yeah, Frogger.
That would be
Frogger.
Elf.
Elf is correct.
Yep.
Rudolph with your nose so bright, won't
Patty.
you guide my sleigh, Patty?
That was Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer.
That is correct. Blast this Christmas music. It's joyful and triumphant.
Ooh.
Nobody.
Yeah. Sarah?
How the Grinch stole. Sarah, go ahead.
Oh. No. You already started to give the answer, and I wasn't going to guess that anyway. So.
Okay. How the Grinch Stole Christmas.
She's the most honest producer in radio, I tell you.
This is extremely important. Will you please tell Santa that instead of presents this year, I just want my family back?
Oh.
Patty?
Home Alone?
Good guess, Patty. Nice.
Nice pull.
Next, seeing is believing, but sometimes the most real things in the world are the things we can't see.
Patty. Is this the Santa Claus?
Incorrect.
Frogger.
Sarah.
Frogger?
Miracle on 34th Street.
Incorrect. Sarah?
The Polar Express.
That is correct. Nice job, Sarah.
That's my second guess.
By the way, Santa Claus just walked into the studio. Did you see that?
Oh, I do. I do, actually. That's not a lie.
All right, let's keep going.
Alrighty. Faith is believing in things when common sense tells you not to.
Frogger. Sticking with it. Miracle on 34th Street.
Now that is Miracle on 34th Street.
Bam!
Hey.
I knew it would pay off.
Every time a bell rings, an angel gets
Sarah.
his wings. Sarah?
The best Christmas movie of all time, It's a Wonderful Life.
That, too,
is
correct.
And I agree with you.
Yeah.
That, too, is correct. 2 points there.
All right.
Maybe Christmas, he thought, doesn't come from a store. What if Christmas,
Frogger.
perhaps? Frogger.
That's The Grinch Who Stole Christmas.
That is correct.
Boom.
I believe. It's silly, but I believe. Again, Miracle on 34th Street.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Alrighty, last movie quote. I never thought it was such a bad little tree. It's not bad really at all. Maybe it just needs a little love.
Sarah.
That's Charlie Brown Christmas.
Charlie Brown Christmas is correct.
It is.
Staying with December, what two birth signs are in December?
Frogger.
Sarah.
Frogger, then Sarah.
Well, it's Sagittarius and Capricorn, of course.
That is correct.
That's me and Jesus.
What's the number one Christmas movie of all time? I feel like we've covered this.
Sarah.
Sarah.
It's A Wonderful Life.
That is correct. Wow. What is traditionally left for Santa on Christmas Eve?
Patty.
Frogger.
It's not tacos and tequila. It is milk and cookies.
Yes. What was traditionally left in our house, Matthew? Careful, he might be listening. Hey, easy.
I think it was chocolate cake and Bud Light.
Oh, my God.
What 1996 Christmas movie has Arnold Schwarzenegger and Sinbad in it?
Frogger.
Oh.
Frogger.
Jingle All the Way.
That is correct. Patty's favorite movie. Who starred as the conductor in the Polar Express?
Patty.
Frogger.
Patty, then Frogger.
It's Tom Hanks.
That is correct.
Yes.
Well done.
What were Frosty the Snowman's last words?
Patty?
Patty.
Happy birthday?
No.
I think those were his first words. Frogger.
Right. Dang it.
Frogger.
It's getting warm out here.
No, sing the song.
Oh.
Sarah?
I can't think of it. I can't.
Maddie, you want to give it?
No points, but it's I'll be back again someday.
I'll be back again someday.
Ugh.
What was the first company to use Santa in advertising?
Frogger.
Frogger.
That would be Macy's.
Incorrect.
Oh.
A little bit of a hint. It's how he got his red and white suit because it's the same colors of this product.
Yeah.
Sarah.
I got nothing.
Sarah.
Coca-Cola?
Coca-Cola's correct.
Oh.
Wow.
Yeah.
What does Ralphie want for Christmas?
Frogger.
Frogger.
It's a Red Ryder BB gun.
Red Ryder BB gun is correct.
Just shoot your eye out.
Correct. All righty, little cultural. Let's see if I can dance with a little culture, Matthew.
A little class, a little culture?
In Japan, millions of people eat what on Christmas Day?
Frogger.
Frogger.
Crab.
Kentucky Fried Chicken.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Wow.
What do millions of Jewish people in America eat on Christmas Day?
Frogger.
Frogger.
Patty?
Chinese food?
Chinese food is correct.
So is that stereotypical or is that true?
That is true. I have several friends that are.
Okay.
I float out that I'm going for Chinese food that night. They're like, no, that's us.
Don't
you leave us alone. Don't crowd the restaurant.
All right.
A Christmas staple food for Mexico, especially Mexican Americans, is what?
Frogger. Tamales.
Yep.
Tamales is correct.
All right. By the way, great read for you parents out there. Get the book Too Many Tamales. A great read, whether you're Hispanic or not. Great Christmas book. Too Many Tamales.
Does it have a picture of us at the end?
It does.
On a standard traffic light, is the green light on the top or the bottom?
Frogger. Top.
Incorrect.
Patty.
No!
Patty. This is on the bottom.
My brother might be coming the other way. Right? In which hand is the statue of Liberty's torch?
Frogger.
Sarah.
Frogger, then Sarah.
Her right hand.
The right hand is correct.
Yep. Last one, Big T.
All right. How many sides are on a standard pencil?
Oh, Frogger. 6.
6 is correct.
Fantastic. Well, I pulled it off this week. Sarah, Patty, you guys gave me a run. We ended up 4-9 to 6. You know, I didn't say it on the air last week, but the Senator Scott Wilk beat me last week. He beat us both, Patty. I would like to thank, Big T, thank you so much for stopping by. I'd like to thank Robert Reyes, the owner of the hot new Reyes Winery on Main in downtown Newhall, for coming in today. Also, Dr. Jennifer Smolos from College of the Canyons, Director of Global Initiatives for iLead Schools, Farnaz Kaufman. Big T, thank you. Producer Sarah, thank you for coming in. Appreciate everything you did for the show today. Engineer Patty, and thank you all for listening. Join us again next week and every Friday, 8 to 10 a.m. I am Matt Watson, and this is SCVi and iLead Schools Eye on the Valley on your hometown station, KHTS.